Hello there, I'm the Biblical Translator, and today's scripture is taken from Luke 6:1. One Sabbath day, as Jesus was walking through some grain fields, his disciples broke off heads of grain and ate the grain. But some Pharisees said, "Why are you breaking the law by harvesting grain on the Sabbath?" Jesus replied, "Haven't you read in the scriptures what David did when he and his companions were hungry? He went into the house of God and broke the law by eating the sacred loaves of bread that only the priest can eat. He also gave some to his companions." Jesus added, "The Son of Man is Lord, even over the Sabbath." You kind of think about when they're breaking off the heads of the barley or the wheat or the grain. Is that really harvesting? I mean, it seems like they're really nitpicking there. And it also seems as though the Pharisees and whether or not who else there were, religious leaders and religious teachers, were just hanging around, just looking for an opportunity to point fingers, to criticize, to bring down, to make Jesus and his disciples try to catch them out as though they're doing something wrong. But Jesus always had an answer. And we have people like that in our lives, don't we? We have people who just hang around, just waiting for you to make a mistake, waiting for you to put a foot wrong, just so that they can seem all high and mighty and, as though they're holier than thou and as though they've done better than you. Why do we have people like that? Why do we have people who just constantly either micromanage or find fault or, just try to generally bring people down? Why do those people exist? They usually exist because they are not feeling good about themselves. They need to feel powerful. They need to, I think it's more or less about power, isn't it? If they can tell you that you've done something wrong, it almost makes them feel as though they are right. And so many people want to be right in this world. So many people want to have the right answers. They want to be the authority. They want to be the people that people respect. And so they go around putting people down and trying to find fault. But Jesus always puts the power back in our hands. He always puts the power back within the Son of Man. The Son of Man who has free will. The Son of Man who has choices. The Son of Man who has to do what he needs to do in order to survive. And when you think about his analogy or his example, talking about David, breaking the law and eating the bread that was reserved for the priests and sharing it with his companions. I mean, that could have been sacrilege, couldn't it? I mean, he's more or less saying that David didn't care about any rule or law or ordinance. He just decided, look, I'm hungry. My companions are hungry. We need bread. Why is that bread just sitting there, just waiting for priests who may not even eat it or who may not even need it? So no, we're going to eat that bread. And the same way, his disciples who were hungry and they were walking through the grain field and they saw the grains and they broke them off and they ate the kernel or they ate the wheat, whichever part of the grain that they ate. But they ate it because they were hungry. And when God says the Son of Man has rules over the Sabbath, what we decide to do on the Sabbath is up to us. We bear the consequences. It's not for anybody to point fingers. So, yes, you're not supposed to work. Yes, you're not supposed to travel, according to some religions. Yes, you're not supposed to travel, you're not supposed to work, you're not supposed to cook. It doesn't say you're not supposed to eat, but I think the actual breaking of the breaking of the heads of the kernel is considered work. I think that's their point. And actually kind of taking all the little bits, you're doing something. So they consider that work. As opposed to, I would imagine, being served with food after a period of fasting where you don't have to, or the food is being brought to you. So, but even then, it's not about the actual act of breaking off the grain and eating. It's about fulfilling a need as and when you need it. The Sabbath is about being conscious for one day in the week about what you're doing. Conscious about worshipping God, recognizing his presence in your life. It's about setting time aside to make sacrifices, and the sacrifices you feel comfortable making. There's no rule book in what you should do on the Sabbath. So it's about what you decide to do and how you decide to exercise it. That lies with your conscience. You can say, oh, look, I can watch TV. I can go shopping on the Sabbath if I have to. I can help my wife if I want to, if she really needs my help, and stuff like that. But it's about being conscious, not being frivolous, not taking advantage and treating that day different from every other day of the week. Every other day of the week you probably get up and you get dressed for work and you're not really conscious. You're just like a robot, really. You're an automatic pilot. You go to work, you do your work, you have your lunch break or whatever break you have, and then you go home, you talk to your wife, you talk to your kids, you sort things out, and you might play games, or you might do it, whatever it is you do on automatic pilot for 6 days of the week. On the one day that you choose, that's one day, the Sabbath day, that is the day where you don't do exactly what you want to do. You sacrifice. You sacrifice enjoyment. You sacrifice watching TV. You sacrifice other things that you would normally do on automatic pilot. And you set that time aside to commune with God and to just really show your appreciation for being alive, for what he's done for you, and you just spend some uninterrupted time. And however you spend that time, you could spend that time just talking to him, you could spend that time reading and answering yourself and writing and studying and that kind of stuff. But whatever way you choose, it's up to you. You are the governor. You are the Lord over what you do. And the Sabbath is just one example. You are the Lord over your lives. You are the one that decides how you're going to spend your life, what you're going to do with it, how you're going to behave, how you're going to react to situations, how you're going to interact with people. What type of person do you want to become? On the Sabbath, it's one of those days where you can kind of self-reflect and find ways to improve. How do I want to improve? How do I make myself a better person than I was the day after? The Sabbath can be used for self-development, for professional development. It can be used in a way that improves so you become a better representative of God. And you're looking for ways to increase the way you love someone, the way you love others, the way you show love to others. And this is the day that you set aside to do that kind of studying. And you do it whether it's in conjunction with reading the Bible or whether it's just a conversation you have with the Father. Whichever way it is, you are the Lord over the Sabbath. The Sabbath doesn't lord itself over you. So people who judge and, criticize you, it's not for them to do that. Anyway, I'm the Biblical Translator. I hope this makes sense. Look forward to speaking to you soon. And that's all for now. Bye-bye.